Hello everyone. I'm Fatima Tiscareño, and for today's activity, I will explain to you one of the main treaties, a treaty, an international treaty, where our state, Mexico, is involved with. So, it's the ICCPR. I will explain and justify this treaty with two following resources, and to mainly explain and examine the authoritative sources for interpreting this international covenant and civil and political rights treaty. So let's start with the first thing, that is our framework, the ICCPR framework. We must start with the question, what this treaty stands for? What does this mean? So we can find that the ICCPR means the International Covenant of Civil and Political Rights, and this is one of the most significant human rights treaty where we can follow and we can base with. It was adopted by the United Nations General Assembly in 1966, but it entered into force in 1976. This treaty was ratified by 173 states, making this treaty one of the most widely accepted international legal instruments, talking about human rights and civil rights. So, as I mentioned, is one of the most accepted legally, and it is implemented in many constitutional laws. So, what it refers to our country, we must say Mexico's commitment to the ICCPR. The first thing is the state party status. As I mentioned before, the Mexico, our state, signed the ICCPR in 1967, and it completed the ratification, making it legally bound to uphold the treaty obligations. This means our country is legally obligated to follow the means of the treaty, and we actually follow. We have to sign. We signed, so we are technically forced to do it. So the next one is a constitutional hierarchy. It was follow the is followed by the 2011 constitutional reform. That means that international human rights treaties gained constitutional status in Mexico. In long story short, the relevance and importance of this treaty is relied in the actuality, and it has a pretty important weight within our laws and our liberty we have the privilege to have in nowadays. So we have the last one in our related to Mexico, the legal implications. This elevated status means that ICCPR provisions can directly influence domestic law, judicial decisions throughout Mexico. It means our rights, and also it means in the judicial decisions we have when we have to deal with something that it means to go with this part. So, which primary sources I use for interpreting this treaty? I use two of them. As I found, the most important we can rely with. The first one is the Office of the United Nations, Rights Commissioner for Human Rights, and the Human Rights Committee. These sources can provide an real and authoritative guidance to understanding and applying this treaty, talking about its legal context and the decisions we can follow with. Starting with the first one, we can summarize its name because they're pretty large. The OHCHR. This authoritative meaning, it serves as an official human rights body of the United Nations, making it the most appropriate source for interpreting the UN treaty, like the ICPR. We can follow this source, and we can be pretty reliable with, thanks to its relevance and the organization that follow with. It provides official treaty texts and authentic translations. Also, it publishes official explanations and implementations guidance. This means that it's not only the treaty, it's the explanation from it, and you can understand it better without all those, full all those words we cannot understand fully. So these issues updated interpretations reflecting contemporary practice. It is not only the 1967 treaty, it's related and actualized to our real world in the 2026. Now we can find the institutional reliability, as I mentioned, is one office of the United States. So the institution source was created by the United Nations itself. So basically, is a UN really involved with, and it produced by private individuals or organizations. This official document was published authentic has an authentic treaty reliability, not only the full document but also the texts that are taken out of this treaty, and it reflects the interpretation among the member states, not only the regional but all that are within all the states that signed this treaty. Now, the international recognition. This source has a widely cited legal scholarship, has relation with judicial decisions, and the diplomatic practice. So we can find it like pretty reliable and pretty real in what we're looking for. Now, the Human Rights Committee. It was created by the treaty itself, so it is not actually external to ICCPR. It was established by the Article 28 of the treaty itself. So we can say this is pretty in the treaty, but it's like a source that has a relation and it is part of it. So ways we can find comments. This official document is issued by the Human Rights Committee, that it provides more detailed explanations out of the text. So it functions like clarifying the ambiguous language, just as this last source. It's not only the having those this weird words are really technical. Just got to the point. Just explain it. Just being itself, and its legal authority is not only legal in itself, but it has like the authority of interpretations by the Worldwide Committee and the Mexican Committee, so we can rely on them. So, making a pretty general conclusion for the sources, we can find them pretty legitimate thanks to four aspects. The first one is the institutional. They were made by bodies with specific treaty mandates and not only like personal opinions of someone who thought it would be fun to make them and be part of it. No, it was something that really focused on this treaty. Now, the direct connection we have with the treaty, the ICCPR. These are sources created by the organization and operate under the treaty. So it's pretty aligned to the main thing of this treaty. Now, the international recognition. It is universally cited, is used by all states, and we can focus on them having clarity in the text and the articles that are with it. And the academically sound. This is having the standards for scholar standards. Yeah, pretty, yeah. And it has pretty legitimacy, talking about their authoritative, primary, and directly relevant to treaty interpretation. It's not only just an opinion, it's a fact. And related to the treaty. Lastly, the authoritative interpretation matters. We have to have pretty important sources when talking to important treaty. Not only this one, but all the treaties we can found and all the matters we can found and universal rights. So having the ICCPR as a treaty and having the sources we can found and we can rely with is essential. Not only for us as a civil person that wants to know about these rights, but when we have to deal with, when we have some problems, we have to know them and have an important source that is legitimate, and we can focus and we can say like, I know it because I found it and this is real, so I'm not imagining things. So yeah, I believe this is it. I found pretty interesting this treaty because it's worldwide and it is something that we focus and we apply in our law, in Mexican law, so we have to know it. And yeah, I believe is something we must know because sometimes we don't know where our rights come from. So we can focus and have the context, after the wars, after the world wars, and all the stuff was going on in the world. Thanks to those things, we have our laws and our treaties that are nowadays the facts or the main things, because we are here and we have the privilege we have. So I believe that's it. And thank you for your attention and see you later. Thank you.